to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make some copper earrings using a pancake die. I'm also going to solder on some bezel cups and add some turquoise cabochons. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do for these earrings, I'm going to hammer texture this 24 gauge sheet of copper. So the hammer that I've chosen, it's not pretty. It's pretty beat up, that's what it is, but I took a ball peen hammer and I just ground down the back and just have a little square right there. I don't want it too textured for this particular pair of earrings, so I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to do it lightly. I'm not going to completely cover the copper like I do on a lot of pieces. So you'll see as you texture, your metal kind of warps. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to use my rawhide mallet just to straighten it up. So that's pretty straight. It is straight enough to put in the pancake die, so that's where we'll start. This is a pancake die that I'll be using today. It's number 704A. It's the wedding pot. So I'm going to take my textured copper. I'm going to slide it right there into that window, and always make sure that you see your pattern side in the window. And because it's a little loose, I'm going to tape it down on the back. So I always check my work before I put it into the hydraulic press. I make sure that I have the pattern side in the window. I make sure I have enough room coming around the pancake die. So now I'm going to put it in between the two platens. I call this my focal point. So you want to make sure everything's centered in that area. So I put it in between the two extended platens. And you'll see that my pancake die is directly in the window of the hydraulic press. So now I'm ready to go. So I'm untaping it. And now I'm just going to pull that off. So there's my wedding pot. And usually I can just push it out with my thumbs. So the next thing I need to do is saw off the tab, or when it's very simple like this, I'm just going to cut this tab off with my shears. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a turquoise stone to really make these earrings pop. So what I have here are my turquoise cabochons. I have 2 copper bezel cups, and this is a museum gel. So it's really hard for me to pick up the turquoise cabochons. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of this museum gel and put it on my wooden dowel. And what I have here is dental floss. So if the turquoise is too big, the turquoise will get stuck in that bezel cup. So you put the dental floss underneath it, so if it does get stuck, you can just pull that out. So I'm ready to go. This turquoise cabochon is perfect for the bezel cup. I'm going to make sure this other one is perfect as well, and then I'm going to solder the bezel cup onto the earring. So on these earrings I'm going to use wire solder. It's a medium flow. I'm just going to cut a little piece off for each earring. Now I'm going to take my flux. I use Ultra Flux, and I'm just going to put it right in the center of each earring. I'm going to put flux on the back of my copper bezel cups. Now I'm going to take my solder pick and pick up the solder, and I'm going to put it right onto the bezel cup. But first I've got to get that hot enough. So I'm using today a little blazer. It's a little micro torch. So I'm just going to heat that up just till it stops bubbling. So always go in a circular motion. So you're seeing how the bubbling has stopped on the bezel cup. So I'm going to take my solder pick. You'll see there the solder is right at the end of my solder pick. I'm going to set that right onto the bezel cup. And I don't know if you could see that, but it just flowed nicely. Take the second one. So make sure that's centered where you want it. See, it just moves around sometimes. So I'm going to take my soldering pick and just reposition that. So I'm just going to wait for it to gloss just around the edge of the bezel. When I see that, I know that it's flowed and it's adhered to the earring. So there, I just saw it flow. So this earring might stick to your fire brick, so just heat that up just a little bit. You don't want to pull part of your soldering block off, so just heat it up till it moves. And then move it to a cool area on your soldering block. Okay, so now I'm going to go put them in the pickle and clean them up and then set the stone. I took my earring out of the pickle with the copper tongs. Now I'm going to rinse it under the water with the brass brush. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hole for the ear wire, and then I'm going to oxidize it, clean it off, and then set the stone. So now that I've oxidized it with liver of sulfur gel and water, I'm going to take my superfine buffing block and get the excess oxidation off of that. If you use a more coarse buffing block, it's going to scratch your copper, so make sure you use a superfine buffing block. So instead of polishing it at this point, I'm going to put a little Renaissance wax on there. So next thing I'm going to do is add my turquoise cabochon. So now I'm ready to set my stone. But after doing all the work I did to the bezel, soldering it on the piece and everything, I just want to make sure it still fits. So I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to put my dental floss there. I'm going to pick it up with the museum gel on the wooden dowel and set it in there. That still fits beautifully, so I'm going to take the stone out. Now I'm going to remove the dental floss, set that back in there, and so now I'm going to set it. This is called a rocker, a bezel pusher. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go on one side, push it in. I'm going to turn it, push it in a little bit over here, on the bottom, so just a little bit. You don't want to move your stone too much, so I'm going to turn it. And then I'm going to go on each corner just a little bit. Opposite corner. So now I'm going to take the burnisher and I'm just going to smooth that roughness out. So now I'm ready to put the Renaissance wax on there, add the ear wire, and then I'll show you the finished pair of earrings. These are my finished earrings. Thank you for watching my video.